finishing day 2 pretty late in the morning actually. But yeah, let's go over it. Uh this is day 2, which is actually spider. But I wanted to do something with a hourglass shape, knowing the Black Widow. So this ended up being a material I couldn't quite get in time. Again, I'm kind of bleeding into the next day of Inktober. I couldn't get the text to also kind of mirror, so it would like black would be um faded off and then widow, and it would kind of alternate as the hourglass would alternate. But that is fine. Let's get into the actual material itself. Here it is. It's a little bit more complicated because it was a little bit harder to pull off. But the essential parts of it are it's basically a symmetry of mirrored UVs. So this is some mirror, some UVs. I'm offsetting them a little bit by some distance, doing a rotation to rotate the bright way, obfuscate some scale. So if we take a preview of the triangle, that's essentially what this is doing, is it's creating a mirror of a single triangle using the symmetry UVs. So if I were to stop previewing this and unplug the UVs, it's just a triangle now. So this will mirror the UVs, and then I position them. So this is the offset. If I were to put unplug this, you can see then the triangles are there. There's a little bit of a mask that I'm doing to help. And it's funny, you could also rotate here, which this is going to look crazy. It's doing some crazy stuff. There's some weird things you can do with this kind of work, but we could also rotate this. We could put a time frac around this, and you can see what a rotate there is doing. Yes, you could see the kind of oddness and craziness that comes with that. Yeah, and so what I'm doing is I'm rotating the entire container, and I'm rotating it using the sine, a small amount of it, and then an ease curve. So this curve here on my red channel, that's the one that we're looking at. I'm basically easing in how the hourglass rotates. So it's gonna kind of go slow tilting and then really fast as it flips around, and then slow tilt back. That's essentially what this curve is doing, and it's ending at 0.5 because I don't want to rotate a full 1. If I rotate a full 1, it's going to then rotate this 360 when I actually wanted to just rotate 180, 180. And that would be 0.5. If you're using the custom rotator, 0 to 1 is 1 full rotation. So that would be 0 to 360. If you do animate from 0 to 0.5, then that would animate from 0 to 180. This up here is a faster slip time, and I'm using the green channel of this curve atlas to make this curve right here. And this curve is making the hourglass gradient animate up and down. And so if I change the speeding of this curve, this will change like then how this hourglass inside of the Black Widow animates up and down. And I essentially offset it, so we can take a look at the gradient here. This is what the gradient's doing, is it's sort of animating. So that's not the great version of it. Here's the better version to look at. Right here. So this is essentially the hourglass. It flips around and then it keeps going down. So it's continuously rotating in a circle and then animating down, which is exactly kind of what the hourglass is doing. The sand inside of, I guess, the hourglass is constantly rotating and animating down. And I'm making the nice little noise here with that random noise, and then I'm just using this step to essentially animate that noise coming down. And that's basically what this looks like. This just looks like the gradient going down. So I've made my triangle, and then I'm doing a bunch of stuff here that's essentially just drawing lots of different triangles. This is where it gets a little messy, but here's one triangle we can take a look at. This is just kind of like a triangle that's nice and crispy, like someone put the saturation really high. And then I combine that with this triangle here to kind of get a nice little fade. Then I combine that with, and so that's the triangle right here. I'm combining that with another triangle over here. Every little subtract is like rounding the corners. So I'm rounding the radius of my triangle hourglass by 0.25 here, 0.025 here, and 0.5 over here. So this one is a little less rounded, this one's a little bit more rounded, and this one is even a tighter bit. So I'm kind of like playing with, you can imagine the rounding of the border. And I'm using that up here to essentially kind of like make my little mask. So this is my little mask, that my hourglass that I'm filling. And I'm combining that with a lerp over here. So this is then combining, I made a little border. Let's take a look. So this is my hourglass shape. And then this right here is the gradient fill inside. And then I'm using, if the value is white in this mask, then turn it black. And that's essentially what's giving me this little masking fill here. I'd recommend getting confident in lerps. That will help a lot. Understanding this, and then just multiply color. And this last thing here is just essentially making a little box that's rotating with it because of the STF and the symmetry. I'm getting a repeat of the shape. So this was my kind of quick hack to make a mask so that I don't have the rotating corners. So if we preview this, it'll show you the little, it should show you the corners. Oh yeah, yeah. You see it when it rotates. It's got like the repeating shape around the corners. This box is just gonna kind of mask that out. And I essentially combining it with a lerp there, but that's basically gonna make a little mask here that allows it to rotate, and I don't see the repeating hourglass as it's rotating around the next corner. And that should be it for day 2 spider. Probably more complicated than it had to be, but getting that hourglass math took me quite a bit of time to figure out how to get this to fade down in a way that I wanted. Building out the whole shape, super simple. Took like, I don't know, 30 minutes. Getting the Black Widow spider hourglass stand to animate up and down, nightmare. Who knew? But hopefully you enjoy Inktober and day 2 spider.